1, 2, 3, 4. Chop, chop, chop.
It's cure of the what now?
Gather the ingredients.
Cure of the what now?
Not much time to prep before it's time to start the show.
Oh!
Guests are arriving.
Cure of the what now?
Everybody's smiling.
Cure of the what now?
A tasty party starting. Now it's time to go. Woo!
Ooh, served hot and fresh.
Itadakimasu. We wish you a merry precure. We wish you a merry precure. We wish you a merry precure and a toku new year. Hello, fellow holiday enjoyers, and welcome to
Season 2, Episode 39 of Cure of the What Now? Yum!
the one show where we know it's good to be in the spirit of whatever holiday you're enjoying. Yesterday was the last day of Hanukkah and Christmas Day. I believe today is the first day of Kwanzaa. I don't know, culturally, that's not one of mine, but if you're celebrating, happy Kwanzaa. My alma mater posted a happy Kwanzaa thing today, so I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Yeah, they wouldn't get that wrong on the internet.
I meant to Google it before I did this intro, and I just didn't because I'm an idiot, and I forgot I was going to do this whole bit.
Absolutely. And we can't fix it in post because we're moving on.
We're doing it. We're moving on. My name is Kat, and I am well enough to be on this episode.
Welcome back,
You,
Kat.
I have to say, you did a fantastic job solo hosting.
Except for shrinky-dink technology is apparently technology that takes normal-sized objects and shrinks them down. So reverse shrinky-dink technology would actually be what we call embiggening technology.
That would indeed be enlarging technology, yes. Who are you?
I am your co-host Joel, and also my horoscope says that today I'm going to win $1,000. I love that. I love that for me.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congrats, man. Congrats. I don't actually have a horoscope because I was not born.
You were just summoned to this realm.
I was
from beyond the stars.
I was scalpeled out of my mother like a noxious parasite.
You are not of a woman born.
I'm not,
To
exactly.
Shakespeare.
Yeah, so no horoscope for me. The stars have no influence over my life.
Now, one really quick announcement that I want to make is that, well, there's two. First off, next week there is no Delicious Party due to the New Year's, and so we will just be covering Doki Doki episodes, which is fine with me. I love me some Doki Doki. And the second announcement is that we're coming to the end of Season 2 of Cure of the What Now? Yum! So I just want to remind you that we're going to try to do some kind of award ceremony for the various characters in both Doki Doki and Delicious Party. We didn't have another one that we did. We watched Max Heart, but I'm not giving awards to Max Heart.
We don't have to do Max Heart. Didn't we watch
Did
Fresh?
we finish Fresh?
We did
Was that
Fresh
this
this season.
Okay, so the Fresh girls are also on the list.
Yeah.
But these are things like who has the best outfit. That can be their civilian outfit, or who has the best precure outfit. Best girl. Best general. Those are the evil generals. Who's the resident criminal? What was the cutest moment? What was the biggest heartbreak? So we don't have an official way of people sending in their information yet. We do have the Discord server. But I think that next week we will have a Google survey or something where you can cast your votes for these various categories or suggest one. Because
Absolutely.
you might say, hey, my favorite character is Amane, and I think the thing that best fits Amane as an award is X.
Best unsupervised child.
Absolutely.
You can literally make them up. If they're funny, we'll include them. And listen to me. Listen to me very closely. I know we have more listeners than are active in our Discord. And the reason I know that is because we have very sneaky podcast analytics that tell us how many downloads each episode gets. And we get more than 2 downloads per episode. So
We know where you live, Ruth.
No, don't say that.
What?
Don't say that. Nobody's threatening anyone, especially not anybody named Ruth. But listen, if you listen to this podcast, but you're not active in the Discord, please vote in the awards. I will give you all of my love. The link to the Google survey will be in the show notes for whichever episode is live the week that we put the survey up. It will also be pinned on Twitter, and it will be on the Reddit post. So vote in the awards.
Please and thank you.
Voting is your civil duty.
Santa will find you. Or is there a Hanukkah Santa? Is there like a specific figure? Like Moses? Will Moses come breaking down through your door?
Now listen, it's been a long time since I've been in touch with my Jewish roots. but I'm pretty sure it's God.
Oh, okay. Well,
Like God kept the oil burning for.
okay, well, I wasn't sure if there was a specific figure because, like, Christmas isn't really about Santa, but he's like the showrunner of the whole thing.
You know what there is? There's the Hanukkah moose. Did I tell you about that?
Oh no, you were being serious. Okay,
Target made a toy that's like the Hanukkah moose, but like Hanukkah was spelled wrong on the box, and it was like it's the Jewish Christmas moose or something like that. Like, it was really so obviously somebody not Jewish made the toy, and so there's pretty funny TikTok about it.
It's like r/men writing women or whatever, where it's just things that like don't make sense at all. It's like if you just thought about this for 3 seconds, you would realize this is not the way.
Are goys writing Jews?
Now, I want to move on to the discussion question, and we have a couple that we still haven't gone through that I want to get to before the end of Season 2 of Cure of the What Now? Yum! But Catherine and I have recently discovered a new show, Alice in Borderland. It's available on Netflix in the US. Again, regions are weird and different countries are weird, but just use a VPN. If you like death games, like the Hunger Games, the actual Hunger Games part of the Hunger Games, or Squid Game, or that sort of a thing. Liar Game is a really good manhwa that I read that also was kind of in the similar vein.
What was that death game anime I watched?
Oh, I don't remember. Like Death Parade or something like that? Wasn't or...
Death Parade is a death game, but no, I wasn't thinking of that one. I was thinking of a different one.
It's a genre. If you haven't heard of it, I'm a little surprised, to be honest. But if you like this sort of thing, it's a live action death game. It's not too gory. Like, I don't usually watch horror or like slashers or whatever, but it's kind of tastefully done. But the characters are really interesting, and I would recommend it. But my point is instead of going into one of these 2 lead-in discussions I have saved, I thought it might be interesting. How can we do, and obviously Precure doesn't really usually involve death, and if it does, it's like I don't want to say special occasion, but like it's unique. It's not something that happens every week. But can we pitch a Precure season where they play games against the evil generals?
Yes. Okay. So first of all, instead of death, because it's Precure, I think you just go back to your regular life and you don't get to be a Precure.
Okay.
So you don't get to stay in whatever arena. And then I think you'd have to have the character who's really good at bringing people together, and then the smart character. So maybe you'd have a pink and a blue.
Okay, I like that. See, I like the idea that if a Precure ever loses, they lose their Precure power, but this could also be a bit Shaolin Showdown, where there's like a bunch of artifacts, and if the good guys and bad guys get there at the same time, they have to battle it out over the artifact.
I love that.
The only thing is that I'm wondering, how do you have the bad guys? Do you give the bad guys, like, if you were to have Marmo, Belle, and Ira, would they each have quote-unquote 4 lives like a video game, and every time they lose one of their lives. When they're out, they can no longer participate and they can no longer grab the artifact.
Yeah, maybe they get subsumed by the darkness. They just get sucked back in.
Oh no.
What if, I like your idea.
Okay,
so maybe instead of taking place in some random arena, it takes place throughout,
wherever.
Tokyo or whatever. Maybe there are like 200 magical girls at the beginning. And the idea is if you get enough of these artifacts, your team will be strong enough to challenge the dark team directly.
Okay.
Not just in these small one-on-one battles. And then, like, by the end, maybe we have, like, 4 main girls.
I really like that. So one thing that they do in Alice in Borderland that they don't do in other death games is there are different challenges of different categories, so they're based off of playing cards. So there's spade challenges, diamond challenges, heart challenges, and club challenges. So I like the idea of there being, like, if there were arenas, I like the idea of there being, like, challenges that only red cures can take part in, or only pink cures. Or maybe you start out as, like, a white magical girl, like your outfit is all white, but then as you continue to win certain types of games, you get those colors added to your outfit or something like that.
Oh, that's interesting. So like the red or the orange ones could be mostly physical, so you could have girls that only want to do the punchy games.
Weightlifting and rock climbing and soccer and that kind of a thing.
Listen. This is not a Alice in Borderlands podcast, but because I have a platform, I have to take the chance. This show is so good. It's so good. It's got a bunch of awesome female characters, it has a trans woman who's just incredible. Like, it is such a good show, and I'm really surprised that I haven't heard of it before now, because its second season just came out like 2 days ago. So if you are into this genre, or if you enjoyed Squid Games, or if you just want to see a trans woman punch a bunch of people, go watch this show.
Absolutely. I will say, the two examples that I picked, Hunger Games and then, was Darwin's Game the one that you watched?
Yes!
Okay. But I mentioned Hunger Games and Squid Games, and if you watch those with any kind of critical lens, you'll notice that one of them is about how war is bad and kind of revolution and that sort of thing, oppressive governments, and Squid Game is about how bad capitalism is. As far as I can tell, I don't believe that Alice in Borderland has a direct thing that it's commenting on. I think it's commenting on, like, living life and what it means to be alive and what it means to live a life worth living. But I would say that Hunger Games and Squid Game kind of took these ideas that they wanted to critique and folded it into the genre, whereas this seems to just be straight up about the genre, which is pretty cool.
I wonder, too, like, in Hunger Games, they're not really playing different games to survive. They are just surviving. So I wonder if, like, big genre aficionados count it.
That's true. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. The point is, I really like death game as a genre. So if there's a good death game I should check out, tell me, and I will go watch it.
For sure. Now we can move on into Succinct Summaries, is usually what we do next. So this week, we once again kind of...
Wait! I'm sorry, for our discussion question, I have one more quick thought. You could have one person on the bad guy team. I'm imagining if you start out with, like, 200 Precure, you also start out with 200 bad guys, but I think only, like, 5 of them would have names and faces. I think the rest would be, like, the Toku fodder villains.
Sure, you see them in the background getting defeated by someone who just won their third game or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. They've got, like, the black masks and whatever. But one of them could be on, you know, their last life before they get subsumed into the darkness, and they could be won over to the Precure side.
Ooh, I like the idea of some of the pinks trying to reach out and trying to be like, join our side. And I like the idea of some of them being like, no, we want to be evil, but then maybe there's a couple who do. I also like the idea of there being some bad guys who are just bad guys who want to be evil and they want to win the game because then they can control the world in darkness or eat all of the cakes or whatever. But then I like some of them being a little bit more complicated. Maybe there's like an evil general or something who is very cruel or whatever, and maybe one of the other evil villains doesn't like them for some reason. And so I like the idea of this kind of like morally gray character who's bad, but maybe approaches the team as they start to form, being like, listen, we're gonna team up over there in the King of Hearts arena, and it'll be a one-time thing. I'm not your friend, but we need to take out that guy.
Absolutely. All right, now you can do the succinct summary. I'm sorry to have
No,
cut
that's
you
okay.
off.
That was a good thought. I really appreciate it. So, we dragged our feet and did not record this episode before the next episode of Delicious Party came out. So once again, we are doing a double coverage episode. We watched 2 episodes of Doki Doki, 2 episodes of Delicious Party. Episodes 40 and 41 of Delicious Party, and Doki Doki 41 and 42. Next week, we will be covering Doki Doki 43 and 44. Maybe 45 and 46? I'm not going to guarantee it, but we'll be covering at least 2 episodes, 43, 44. Succinct Summaries. Delicious Party episode 40 is all about Takami's identity as Black Pepper. He finds out that his Delicious Stone can be used by Mary, and his dad is like, maybe you should let Mary handle this. But then partway through the episode, Takami decides that he wants the Delicious Stone back so that he can help the girls whose fairies have been kidnapped by Secret Toru. So he becomes Black Pepper, transforming in front of Yui, and then untransforming, de-transforming in front of the other girls at the end of the episode. So his identity has been revealed, they've saved the day, and Takami is allowed to be Black Pepper again. It turns out there was a secret Delicious Stone that was hidden inside of the purse that they got at the end of the time travel episode. Hooray. Also, Black Pepper's identity is known. Yay!
Did you get the impression that Stone was always in the purse, or that time travel shenanigans, after they went back to the future, Ginger was like, really quick, before I forget, I'm gonna slip this in here?
Yes, I think Ginger knew someone, they were gonna time travel back to the present. He gave them the purse, and he put his special stone in it, and he just, let them have it. In the next episode, it's the Christmas episode. The main plot is that they're throwing a party and everyone's super happy. Takumi, Mary, and someone else. Oh, Takumi's dad, Cinnamon. They go to a secret cave where they can repair Mary Stone, and they realize that the stone was tampered with on purpose so that it would break. Oh my gosh.
Are you telling me there's been a mole in the Cook Kingdom this whole time?
Absolutely. Or a cat thing behind a computer monitor.
Wah!
So Fennel shows up to the human world, and if you're not the target audience, like if you're a little older, you know something is incredibly weird about this episode with Fennel. He's asking Yui to like lie to Mary about stuff or keep it a secret, and why is he here in the first place, and he was gone when the king and the queen were calling for him at the same time that Secretary was getting a message from Godatz, and at the very end of the episode it is revealed in fact that Fennel is Godatz. Not one of the other generals, like someone on the same level as Secretary, just the head boss. He takes on this sort of armored look, and it's a pretty good look for him, honestly. And he defeats the girls and is about to possibly obliterate them? Like with an energy blast? But then at the last minute, who shows up but the Cook fighters? One thing that I will note in the succinct summary is we don't know where Serafuil, the apprentice we met earlier, she seems, or I don't know, they seem like they are still a good character who does not know Fennel's true identity, and they will probably be relevant and important in the last couple of episodes, but we don't know. It could turn out that they're a secret agent too. They got Skywalkered at the end of episode 3, pulled aside by Fennel, who's like, you can eat all of the delicious gelato you want if you join my team. That's it for Delicious Party. Doki Doki, we have an episode about... If you remember, there was an episode where Alice had to enter a talent competition and her friends joined, and they were facing this horrible rich girl and her horrible rich girl friends who compared the girls to like apes, which is really strange, and I don't like it. She's back, and she's trying to sell flowers at the same time that Alice is trying to sell flowers.
Specifically trying to one-up Alice.
Specifically trying to outsell Alice, trying to sell these, like, really show-offy roses, really beautiful, specifically slashing the prices so that people will go to her for the better deals. She just hates Alice. But then it turns out that Alice has always considered her a friend, and the end of the episode is them making up. Regina shows up to destroy all of the flowers, but through the power of teamwork, they're able to defeat her. And Alice, much like Makoto in her episode, tells Regina, like, I believe you have a good heart, which leads directly into the next episode, where Regina's kind of like, oh, my heart hurts, and why do these people believe in me? Oh, so dumb, gross, ew. And she goes up and she tries to get rid of all of the Earth's happiness. There's a birthday party they're throwing for Aguri, who turns out doesn't actually know when her birthday is. And if you're adopted, you don't know your birthday. That's not how that works.
What would you know about it, Joel?
What would I, an adopted person, know about what it's like to be adopted? But because she lost her memory, she doesn't know when her birthday is, so they decide to throw her a birthday party. Regina shows up to ruin it, but then they save the day, and that's the Doki Doki episode. And those have been your Succinct Summaries.
Amazing Succinct Summaries. What would you like to talk about first today?
I think there's less to talk about in Doki Doki, so that should be the appetizer to the Delicious Party main course.
Absolutely, absolutely. Did you like these episodes of Doki Doki?
I like them pretty well. They still feel like standalone episodes that aren't really, like, leading to the finale, which I kind of wish that we had, like, a final fetch quest or something that they were going on. They have to find the third magical artifact, and, you know, they're looking for clues. But as an Alice episode, it was good, and as a Makoto/Aguri, Makoto wasn't really the center focus, but we got some information about her. It was pretty good. It was okay.
They're getting the power of love one at a time again, is what's happening. Like, they're accepting other people's love or something. These girls have single episodes a lot. I don't know if you've noticed that, but, like, we go through cycles where each of them gets an episode, and then we have a couple of regular episodes, and then each of them gets an episode again.
Yes.
So it's a very structured season. I think it's cool that apparently Alice's rich friend can fly planes in space.
Yes. So the people start getting affected as if there's a disdain in the area, but they haven't heard a dark heartbeat. None of the fairies have noticed it. But then it turns out that's because Regina disdainified a satellite in space that's so far away they can't hear the dark heartbeat, and the only way to defeat her is to take a space shuttle to space. Alice has a, it's not exactly a space shuttle, it's not exactly a jet, sort of like a hybrid of the two.
But like a single person.
A single person vehicle to get her into space, and she's gonna fight Regina. But then just when it looks like she's about to lose, the other girls show up and she goes, how? And it turns out that Rich Girl's family also has a space jet thing that Rich Girl can pilot, and it can actually carry more people. And it turns out that they also told Rich Girl about the Precure and that Alice is Cura Rosetta. And it turns out that the reason she's been so nasty is because she also wanted to be Alice's friend, even though... Okay, let's not focus on that. Turns out they have space jets.
And Alice accepted her feelings, and she glowed a little bit, and then she did her angel thing. And she was like, Regina, take this flower. And Regina was like, F you and F your flower, too. I'm getting tired of Regina. Like, I get it. The girls love her, and they're her friend, and she doesn't love them. She doesn't want to be their friend. But, like...
Yeah, she had an interesting arc. She showed up and we didn't quite know what was going on with her. She was she was the princess of the Selfishes, and then she tried to become their friend and seemed to actually be trying really hard, and it looked like they almost broke it seems like maybe there's some kind of mind control or false memories or something. Then she goes away. Now she's back and she's super evil and Mana wants to save her, but we've had like 4 episodes now where it's just her showing up and being like, oh, I hate friendship. Yeah, we know. We've seen that, actually.
There were a couple of really good moments in the Aguri episode. Marmo eats Regina's parfait.
That's right.
That she was keeping in the fridge, and so Regina just electrocutes her. So that was pretty funny.
She uses the Zettai ni Urisanai, I'll Never Forgive You, that was so popular, and so...
We watched Sweet this season.
Okay, maybe we finished Fresh this season, and then we watched Sweet from the beginning this season. Because we didn't watch both of them from the start and to the end in this one season of our podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But no, it was a great little like funny moment, and it shows that Regina is she's conflicted.
Yes, exactly. Also, Regina targeted Aguri specifically during the battle and said some mean things to her about like, you think you're part of this group? You came in late, F you.
Yeah.
It's just mean for no reason. And Mana, I wanted to call her Makoto. Mana was like, no, we love Aguri. Aguri's our precious friend. And Aguri was like, cool beans, man. I love you too.
In that episode, Mana also did the everyone is valid and everyone is like worthy of love kind of a thing. And I like that. It seemed like even though Mana and Aguri are already pretty close, that this episode maybe cements that they grew even closer. Maybe they went from 4 hearts to 5 hearts in the friendship meter.
Oh, man, if they get to 6 hearts, they can get married. They can unlock the romance scene.
I was about to say they unlock a very special cutscene that gives you a special item.
Aguri, also, because she's never had a birthday, has never had birthday cake. And it seems, because she's waiting for somebody to invite her to a birthday party so she can try birthday cake. But it seems odd to me that at this point in her life, she has yet to be invited to a birthday party.
Yeah,
I guess
absolutely.
If she's only been alive for like 6 months, maybe it's not that weird.
Yep, as I covered last episode, I have no idea how long Aguri's been on Earth. I'm going to say less than a year. But this episode is also kind of strange. The Aguri Makoto kind of episode is
Wait, are you going to stray from birthday cake?
I am.
Oh, I have one more thing to say about that.
Okay.
She calls birthday cake the phantom treat.
Yes, because she's never had it before, you see, and she's been told that it's supposed to be really good. And they did that little, like, they didn't say it explicitly, but because it was shared and made for her by her friends, it tasted even better, and she really liked the taste of it. But one thing that I found odd about this episode that we are kind of already covered is they treat the fact that Aguri is adopted as, like, this big secret, and they're like, don't mention it to her. And, like, if Aguri had been living with her family and they'd been murdered or there'd been an accident or something, like, I get not asking about her past because it might bring up painful memories. But in the sense that, like, yeah, she, was found by this kind woman who took her in and adopted her as her grandchild, which is kind of strange. You'd think that you would just adopt her as your child, even if you're old enough that it should be her grandchild. But, like, don't talk to her about it. Why? It's
What
normal.
Mana's mom specifically said was don't treat her any differently.
Okay.
And I also thought that was weird. Like, are adopted people lepers? Are they dangerous somehow?
Yeah.
Should I be, like, keeping my distance from you? If you sneeze on me, will I catch the adopted?
Yes. Everyone knows that you're only able, like, you've heard that families with both parents are more stable, and the children are more likely to grow up well-adjusted. But the other key component is that it has to be biological parents. The brain can know when it's just two random people who love you and not two people who loved you and also genetically created you.
Right, yeah. Who farted you out of their lady parts or whatever.
That's the weirdest thing you've ever said on this podcast.
That's how childbirth works, right? I don't know. I'm not interested.
This isn't a medical advice podcast.
Thank God. Can you imagine if it was? I don't want that kind of responsibility.
But the other thing from this episode that I found a little strange, I guess, is Makoto mentions that she actually doesn't know who her parents are, and she's never brought it up. And it seems like she doesn't bring it up because it's kind of painful for her, but she also lived kind of a normal life where Princess Anne was sort of like the loving parent to all of the children. I thought that was very interesting, and I actually kind of like it. In the way that they kind of play up how weird it is that Aguri is adopted, and I don't like that. I kind of like how Makoto's just sort of like, yeah, my life story is different, but that's fine. Like, there are people who are in situations where they don't have their parents and it really sucks and they need extra help or whatever. But in Makoto's case, it's sort of like, a bad thing happened, but so long ago that I don't remember, and society helped. You know, it took a village to raise me, and I appreciate their efforts.
Yes, absolutely. And in the spirit of Precure, if you're able to open your home to foster children, you definitely should, because at least in the geographical area where I live, there are like 3 surrounding states plus my state that have hotels full of foster children that they cannot place.
Absolutely. The other one thing that I want to point out is that Aguri is having a dream. And it's in grainy VHS filter effects, which is pretty nice. But Aguri keeps having a dream of Princess Anne fighting the Selfish King. And she's like, please don't destroy this country. Why are you doing this? And he goes, you know why I'm doing this. And so we thought that Aguri was connected to the princess in some way, especially since I, with the pink hair, is attracted to her. And when she transforms, she looks just like Princess Anne. But it seems like maybe it's weird because she can't be the reincarnation of the princess because the princess is still alive, but she definitely has some kind of soul link with the princess.
So one theory I've had is that Aguri and Regina are like halves of the same person. What if they're the darkness in Anne's heart and the love in Anne's heart separated from her body?
Does that mean at the end of the series they're going to have to be reabsorbed into Anne and say goodbye forever?
Maybe, but maybe not. Maybe I will become Anne. I don't know. My other theory is that there are 3 sisters, and the Selfish King was once the dad of Anne, but she was spending too much time loving her citizens or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's definitely something going on with the Selfish King, potentially, because, like, we've never seen a face. We don't know anything about it. So either it's a creature made of pure darkness that somehow also has a child that also he seems to love to some level or another, or he used to be a dude and then he was struck by evil lightning or something and became the Selfish King, and the end of the series will then be giving him a group hug and he'll return back to his human form.
I know the one time I was struck by evil lightning, I was a real dick.
Absolutely.
For an afternoon or two. The power of love, you know, just pulls you out of it.
100%.
Do you have anything else you want to say about Doki Doki?
Not particularly, other than I really liked the disdain in the space episode. It just kind of had a cool design. It was like an evil tree that had like 4 arms, and I'm not good at explaining why things appeal to me, like visually, but I like the design of that disdain.
Absolutely. So let us have a celebration that is oishi.
Oishiness in Oishina Town. How did you like Black Pepper Takami's episode?
I'm so glad that we're getting some Takami Yui
interactions.
Vibes. Yes. Like, she specifically thinks, like, let's invite Takami to our Christmas party. Yes, invite the boy to things. He's your childhood best friend. Why do you leave him out so often? And then she had a line at the end of the episode that was like, let's be together forever, or let's fight together forever, which 10 out of 10, yes, you do that. That was a marriage proposal, in case you didn't know. Takumi knew. You can see it on his face. He knew, but I don't think Yui did. But no, I liked these episodes a lot. I thought they were cute, and we got a reveal that was exactly what I was expecting.
Yes, absolutely. I don't remember if I mentioned this last episode or the episode before, but we've started to get Secret Toru backstory about why she's evil, and it seems to be related to perfection. I think I did talk about this, but we see some flashbacks of her trying to cook, messing it up, and there's some guy, we don't know if it was like a boyfriend or a partner who like made the restaurant with her or something, but he tried to like give her a kind like it's okay, and she slapped his hand away because she was so frustrated, and he like left without a word. So that seems to be the pain in her heart that Godatz has been exploiting. And she's really been talking about perfection a lot these last couple of episodes, and we even get a scene in episode 42, not to jump ahead, or 41, not to jump ahead, but where she actually, like, takes her hair out of the bun and she has, like, just her natural long hair, which to me feels a bit like Azula at the end of Avatar: The Last Airbender, when she kind of goes a little bit crazy and her hair is disheveled. But, yeah, these episodes were really good. I liked that they kind of treated Takumi like a child. Like, listen, you've been saving the girls, but like, let the adults who haven't been able to do anything against the Ubazao, let us handle it for now. And they take away his delicious stone. But then at the end of the episode, Takumi has agency, and he says, please, let me have the delicious stone back. And he transforms.
He finally got a transformation scene. It only lasted like half a second.
It was not a transformation sequence, to be clear. It was a flash of light. That before the flash of light, it was Takumi, and after it was Black Pepper.
I'm just happy for him. I'm happy for my boy.
But he transformed, and then he moved hi-hi, which is Japanese for fast. The animation for this is weird, and I've been looking, the Tom Haverford meme, I've been staring at it for hours. Not because it's necessarily, like, captivating, but because I think what it is the white blur that is Black Pepper's body that's moving at hypersonic speeds. It looks like it's part of the background, and then the eyes look almost hyper-realistic for anime. It's almost like they CGI'd into, like, human eyes on top of the picture. That's definitely going in the thumbnail, and it definitely weirded me out, but, that's a thing that exists.
Absolutely, yes. Yui just sobs uncontrollably throughout the end of the battle, and after, like, when all the way home, and Takumi brings her a rice ball.
Yes. She blue screens. Like, she's like, Takumi is Black Pepper? And both Mary and the other girls who show up later and Takumi are all like, can you please focus on getting the recipe back? And she's just like, Takumi is Black Pepper? And then at the end of the episode, he's like, I'm sorry that I kept this a secret. And then she just starts bawling, and there's a picture of Amane just like looking so angry at Takumi because this is clearly his fault. But the thing that brings her back to her senses is a rice ball, because everything is always about the rice ball.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you have a wife who sometimes gets emotional when she hasn't eaten. Do you feel like you could calm a storm of crying by giving me a tasty snack? Because I think you could.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps. I think we've all been there. It's just funny to see it, like, animated and to see her go from so, like, loudly crying and so distraught to just like normal, like, oh, thanks, it's a warm rice ball. Like, yes. This solves all of my problems.
No sniffles or anything. Yui is not an ugly crier. Shout out to Secret Toru's obsession with perfection. She's just like me for real. If you can't do something right, why would you do it at all? Like, just saying. Yui keeps talking in this episode and the Christmas episode about, if you keep seeking perfection, you won't smile. Girl, she doesn't want to smile. She wants to be perfect.
Yes, but at the same time, I think you can recognize that as far as fictional characters are concerned, smiling is a representation of happiness, and happiness is important in life as well.
To what end?
I do legitimately think that this is an interesting, well, I don't know about interesting, because I think a lot of Precure seasons have done it. It's still a really good lesson to try to teach the children that the show is aimed towards, because Secret Toru has trauma. It might be kind of silly trauma, like the trauma of not being able to cook is not, in my book, the same as, like, seeing your parents murdered in front of you in Crime Alley. That creates a Batman. That's slightly different.
There are multiple Batmen.
Of course there are. But she has trauma inflicted upon her. She has these anxieties, these worries, these kind of cracks in her heart that someone else was able to utilize to kind of, in a sense, radicalize her in a certain direction. And in the end, it's going to turn out that what she needed was someone to comfort her or guide her or in some way be there for her. Someone who doesn't say, hey, you're angry, here's a gun, kid, go use it. But
Here,
someone
do a crime.
Yeah, do a crime, you might feel better. But someone who actually is legitimately like, please tell me about your hurt and we'll help you with that. I would love if at the end of this season, Secret Toru ends up working as like an intern at Yui's mom's restaurant or
Diner.
whatever.
Yeah, also shout out to her boobies for real. I'm just playing. But no, Pam face plants head first into Secret Toru's chest, and it's very funny.
Yes.
And AU apparently, I guess this would go in thoughts from the crew normally, but AU was like, a lot of people online were weird about this, but boobs are just funny. They are funny. Children think boobs are hilarious.
Yep, they are funny, but I'm not saying that it's weird. I'm just saying the reason that it like gets like a blip on my give a shitometer is just because Precure is the sort of series that kind of like doesn't acknowledge boobs or whatever. Like you don't usually get like an adult character in a swimsuit and like the camera zooms in on the titties. Like this is not a harem anime. And so it's just kind of interesting that they even acknowledge that boobies exist. And they do exist and they are funny, but like that's the only reason why I'm kind of like, that was a choice. They deliberately put something in that they usually don't even talk about.
Absolutely, yeah. I felt like this whole season was kind of goofier and sillier than a lot of seasons. Not goofier and sillier than Tropical Rouge.
Okay, sure.
I wanted to call it Tropical Party for a second. I'm mixing my season titles.
Delicious Rouge? Don't eat your Rouge. It's not for eating. It looks delicious, but it's not for ingestion.
No, like crayons. Joel, are there any other things you wanted to shout out about this episode?
Oh my god, we have a couple of things to cover, and I'm gonna kind of shotgun through them. I know that's not organic conversation, but Black Pepper has a healing factor. He has okay, so to set up the scene, they start fighting Secret Toru's robot, and she has analyzed the girls and figured out exactly how strong they are. She's calculated the force of their punches, and she's made a shield that's powerful enough to withstand all of their punches, including Black Pepper. And there's a scene where Black Pepper throws himself in the way of a laser blast to protect the girls, and he's kind of scratched up, and he kind of gets up, and in a sense, this episode was about his identity as Black Pepper. Pemper, whether or not he was good enough to fight alongside them. So he has this line about like, I might not be a precure and I might not be a cook warrior, but I have the strongest will. I disagree with strongest will, but I get what he's going for. But when he kind of like makes this declaration, it shows like the scratches on his face like slowly going away while he glows with the delicious stone power. And Murray goes, oh, he must have gotten that from Cinnamon. So my guess is, much like how Yui's punches get stronger when she learns a lesson about friendship, I think Takemi's, he doesn't have a cap on his powers. So I think, when Godatz has shown up and he creates the ultimate Ubauzo that cannot be stopped, Takemi will believe in Yui so much that he gets a 10,000 calorie punch.
Kilocalorie punch. Yes. Also, I just want to shout out the fact that Cinnamon is apparently better than everyone else. He was supposed to inherit both of the special delicious stones, but then he got framed for a criminal and went to Earth and disappeared, and instead Ginger's special delicious stones were split between Fennel and Mari. And Fennel seems a little salty about that. He seems like a little bit of a bitch.
Yes. I will say on Crunchyroll, there were some comments on the episode, and there was someone who expressed confusion about like, wait, why is Fennel evil? And I think we're going to get more, but it seems like there's something about his childhood or his relation with Ginger that kind of upsets him. So it's possible that he was supposed to be the chosen one and then he got mad that someone else supplanted him. It could be that I think it's just going to be jealousy. I think is what it's going to come down to. But what is interesting is it seems like he says at the end of this episode, the Christmas episode, that with his 2 delicious stones, because he created an artificial special delicious stone, but with these 2 and the recipe bon in his possession, he'll have ultimate power. So my thinking is that the 2 delicious stones that are part of the same delicious stone, they make a heart. I think that whoever has those 2 is supposed to be like the ultimate cook warrior. And that's why Cinnamon's better than everyone else, like you said, and he was going to get both of them. He was framed for a crime, probably by Fennel. But then instead of giving the 2 stones to one person, they power checked it. So that if Fennel were evil, he couldn't be evil without Mary being on board. And if Rosemary was evil, he couldn't accomplish anything without Fennel also being along. So I think it was a power check to be like, Fennel, you've got darkness in your heart. And he went, screw you, Dad. I'm going to create my own special delicious stone and be evil anyways, with or without Mary's help.
Yep. Also, I just want to say, if I found out you, my dear husband, were secretly the leader of the forces of evil, I'd be like, F it, give me a mask. Like, I'm on board, let's go. You know? They're not murdering people, so like, whatever. You want to create a universe without food, I support you. I don't know how we're gonna live, but I trust your vision.
Absolutely. Now, in the time travel episode, Secret Taru fought Black Pepper and said the reason the Precure girls haven't shown up is probably because they're too far away to hear the SOS of the recipe. Why do we keep finding episodes that thematically link? Because they couldn't hear the Dark Heartbeat in the Doki Doki episode because it was up in space. But AU mentioned that's going to come in relevant later, and I don't know if they had foreknowledge and knew that that was going to be a plot point, or if it was just a good guess or an observation. But now we have confirmed that food has been disappearing from countries abroad too far away for Yui to know, and so, or any of the girls to know, and so that's how they've managed to complete the recipe bond, even though they get foiled week after week because there's actually 2 of them. They were fighting Jesse's Pokemon while James was out becoming Pokemon champion or whatever the heck.
Aw, beans.
Lastly, at the end of episode 40, the first episode that we watched, Mary tells Yui, like, hey, here's a way that you could punch really hard. Like, if you mind the core of your body, you'll be able to deliver an even stronger punch. She tries to follow through on that advice in episode 41, doesn't actually manage it, but I think that's going to be relevant. She's going to get the 5,000 kilocalorie punch in the next couple of episodes to defeat the Ultra Ubauzo.
Yes, I think you're correct.
Okay.
Any tweets, love letters in a bottle, whatever we're doing this time. Do we have any thoughts from our fans?
Unfortunately, I haven't seen anything on these episodes that we covered. I mentioned that in the last couple of episodes, we're on episode 41, so maybe starting, I don't know exactly when, but around maybe 38, 37, I started being suspicious of Fennel for a couple of different reasons. There was one episode where he told the king and queen that he was going to tell Mary something, but we never see him deliver that information. There's a scene where Mary is telling Fennel about their time travel adventures, but he gets cut off before he can reveal something, and the only reason narratively you have a character interrupted is either for... No, it's for dramatic irony. Either dramatic irony that information could have helped and wasn't delivered, or that, the person who was receiving it shouldn't have that information because they're secretly evil. So I said, Fennel's been really suspicious the last couple of episodes. Was he suspicious earlier in the series? I kind of want to go back and watch the first, 12 episodes. Maybe when he was first introduced, maybe he says something weird. Kind of like Big Hero 6, the first thing that the secret villain says is burning the midnight oil, and he starts a fire.
He lights that guy on fire, yeah.
And so, I wonder if there's something Fennel said that people were able to clue in on. And AU said that there were clues earlier on. And I wish I knew exactly what those clues were. I might go back and rewatch those earlier episodes. But for me, the thing that made Fennel most suspicious was just process of elimination. It seemed like the Boondaroo gang had more power in the Ku Kingdom than they should have. So logically, the only answer is that there's an inside person. It's not going to be the king or queen. It's not going to be Mary, who's clearly working with the Precure and can't even go back.
Not going to be some unnamed rando.
Yeah, exactly. So Fennel is the most likely. And then there were a couple of episodes lately where he was super evil or super suspicious.
I think it was AU on Twitter. If I am misattributing this, I will correct it in the next episode. But someone was saying that we've had a couple of episodes now where people grapple with the loss of their mentors. Mm-hmm. So Yui losing her grandma or Mari losing Ginger. And she said that they like that it seems as though Fennel lost his mentor and is not dealing with it well.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. We were talking about this off mic about how the 2 types of Precure villains mostly seems to be force of evil beyond comprehension that must simply be purged with the power of light and friendship, or
incel.
Yeah, absolutely. Incel in general, but or specifically, but you could also generalize it to someone who has pain and isn't dealing with it. And so
someone who makes their pain other people's problem.
Exactly. And so Fennel could easily fit into that. You don't have a character who had a childhood and like a relationship, because AU specifically said a couple of episodes ago that the reason they don't think that Fennel was evil was because of a flashback with Ginger where it showed like genuine like feelings of, tenderness between them. And so you don't give a childhood backstory to a character who's just pure evil. And so obviously Precure has a habit of taking their villains and redeeming them in some way, shape, or form. And I think we're going to get that with Secret Toru. And so I just imagine that Fennel is a good guy who's been misled, as opposed to creature of evil who would murder someone at the first chance to steal their rice cake.
What if he gets kind of redeemed, sort of, and then Secret Toru just loses it?
Oh my
and
gosh.
She's the ultimate big bad because, like, you told me you'd lead me to perfection, and now you let the Precure win? F you, Dad.
Absolutely. I could see that being the case, but I also think that she's going to play a hand in defeating Godatz, specifically because of that thing that you mentioned where Yui keeps being like, is this making you happy? And I think that there'll be a all hope is lost moment, and maybe they'll be in a cell or something, and then Secret Toru will sing about opening up your eyes, and then Yui will be like, but friendship though, and then she'll turn good.
I think the last, 5 Precure villains have been incel types.
Maybe.
Tropical Rouge, incel.
The butler guy?
No, the queen, because the evil
okay.
queen, because she lost it when her friend died. Friggin' Kira Precure a la mode, big incel. You're
Yes.
only gonna bake sweets for me. Star Twinkle. Why are all these other princesses getting attention? I want attention. That's an incel. When was the last time we had a pure evil villain? I think my favorite pure evil villain is the Desert King, just because he has literal Satan hanging out with him in the form of worm off the string. What will he do? What sins will he commit?
Absolutely. Now let's take a look at next week's episode title. Well, not next week's. 2 weeks from now. The next episode of Delicious Party. Episode 42 is called Godatz's Plot, Precious versus Black Pepper. What could he possibly do other than just straight up mind control to make them fight?
Maybe.
The only thing I can think of is maybe it has something to do with Takami's connection to the Delicious Stone. Like maybe I'll corrupt the Delicious Stone to make you turn bad.
Maybe when he takes all of the food away, it will affect even the Precure's memories. And so Yui will just remember Takami as like, you were mean to me when we were kids, and she doesn't have the rice ball her grandma gave her to calm her down.
But will she even be able to transform if she doesn't have a love for food? I don't know.
That's I don't know. But I think that Takami will be protected because he has a Delicious Stone.
Okay, that makes sense. So I think that we are both kind of looking at it in a sort of like one of them is going to be twisted in some way.
Altered, yes.
Yeah. Or Godatz will be like, hey, Takami, aren't you tired of being nice? Don't you just want to go berserk? And Takami will be like, yes, I am definitely evil. Wink. Yui, I am going to defeat you. Wink. And then
Godatz will look around and be like, did you say wink out loud twice? And then he'll be like, no, wink, wink.
And then Takami will just punch him in the stomach and take the 2 Delicious Stones and just run.
Yes.
And that has been your...
Wait, I have one more. The Delicious Stones are his family jewels. And that's been your
Final thought outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone. And don't forget, think about all of the different episodes and shows that we've covered this year. And think about which girls are best, which girls are bad, which villains are good, which villains are bad.
This is the most important election of your life. If you fail to vote in this election, literal human rights are on the line. The human is Joel, and the rights are mine. Thank you all for joining us for another delicious plateful of
Cure of the What Now.
Please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, a like, or lick that subscribe bell so you know when the new episodes are going up.
Did you just say lick it?
Well, yeah, we're baking delicious foods. It's a delicious party.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at PirateGhostHost. Please don't lick me.
Can you even lick a ghost? I'm on Twitter at Kotwin_pod.
KOTWN_pod.
Absolutely. And as always, the Discord link is in the Twitter bio and also in the YouTube description.
Come join us for weekly discussions, streams, and all of the Precure your heart can handle. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yum. Or no, I'm full.